Right, 4 inmates at the Guantanamo detention center are suing the American government over the facility's force-feeding procedure, claiming it is inhumane and a violation of their human rights. Force-feeding was introduced as a method of combating the ongoing hunger strike. More than 40 prisoners are receiving food through nasal tubes, with a total of 106 participating in the hunger strike. Let's now cross live to Robert Neyman, Policy Director at the Just Foreign Policy think tank. For more, Mr. Neyman, a large number of the detainees have been on hunger strike for months now, but their demands have not been granted. Will they achieve any success with this new tactic of going to court?
Well, one thing that we can say was that this issue had fallen off the American political radar almost completely until the hunger strike began. So, and the prisoners have argued they have no other recourse than this hunger strike. So, will the hunger strike succeed? Who knows? But at least we can say that what they're doing has already accomplished much more than anything else that accomplished in terms of putting this issue back at center stage and putting pressure on the U.S. government.
But I mean, Obama has recently renewed his promise once again to close Guantanamo. Do you see this happening at all?
Well, first of all, again, remember, what was the context in which Obama renewed his promise? It's the context of the pressure of the hunger strike. And the key thing to know about the current juncture, according to press reports, is 166 detainees at Guantanamo. The majority of them have been cleared for transfer by the U.S. government. The U.S. government itself says it has no reason to hold these people, the majority of them, and they're no threat to the United States. And in fact, the majority of the detainees now at Guantanamo come from a single country, Yemen. And a third of the detainees now at Guantanamo are Yemenis who've been cleared for transfer. So the U.S. government could free itself and free the detainees, a third of the detainees, just by sending home the Yemenis who've been cleared for transfer. The U.S. has said that it wants to do this. The Yemeni government has said that they're ready to receive them and want very much the U.S. to send them home. I was just a couple weeks ago in Yemen. This is something an issue that people in the Yemeni government are seized on. The U.S. ambassador to Yemen,
okay, but Mr. Neyman, that's all fair and done. I mean, it's very easy for us to say, why doesn't the countries help out to come and get them out? Some of these people have been in Guantanamo for over 10 years with no charges, with no trial. So what makes them think that now, by suing the government over this force-feeding procedure, will they now be able to get some reaction from the U.S. government or from authorities at all?
Well, the force feeding is very controversial in the United States and internationally. It's been described as torture, and whether the U.S. courts have been an inconsistent friend to the detainees. Some of the detainees have gotten relief from U.S. courts. The Supreme Court has held that the detainees do have a habeas corpus right to sue on their detention. Some of the detainees have been released as a result of court battles. The 4 who have sued are all detainees that have been cleared for transfer by the U.S. government. So the U.S. government case for holding them is holding them at all this week. Certainly the U.S. government case for force-feeding them is even weaker. None of us can say what's going to happen in the court, but it's certainly a plausible move by a group of people that don't have a lot of options. What else should they do in order to get their protest heard?
Well, I guess that is the main question. I suppose now we're just going to look out to see if the attorneys themselves can actually get this case to the people who need to hear it, and hopefully something could be done to the respect of those prisoners who have said that they're being force-fed. That's Robert Neyman for Just foreign policy think tank, just giving us his analysis on the situation there.